What are your thoughts on how your red zone efficiency has thrived so much more this year as opposed to last season when you had to settle for so many short field goals? And has it been Kyler's mobility more than anything, or just play execution overall?
I think a combination of things. I do think the emphasis we put on it after really struggling there last year, we thought it cost us games last year, not being able to convert touchdowns. Um, and so that was a heavy emphasis all through training camp, all through the off season, the virtual training we did. And then Kyler's making plays, and he's not taking negative plays. There's not any sacks in the red zone. We're staying on schedule, and guys are locking in and executing at a high level when we get down there.
Obviously, kind of a weird day yesterday for Kyler completion-wise, but just in general, how much wiggle room is there for this offense, for this team to have, for someone to have an off day, and how much of a concern is that going up against Seattle instead?
Yeah, I think we definitely left some things out there, but at the end of the day, I think anybody that watched the game, I mean, he had a pretty dominant performance just with his presence, extending plays, the runs he made, the throws he hit when he needed to hit them. We still have not hit our stride offensively, and I think more than anything, that's encouraging. We got to hit it here soon because we have a great Seattle team coming in who's scoring a bunch of points and has a tremendous defense. But yeah, I think it just shows, even if we miss a few things, there's other guys there to pick you up, like KD did, finishing that game out.
Cliff, what does a win like last night's do for your team as you move forward to Seattle, a division opponent, and obviously now 2 wins in a row? How does that help this week?
It's always easier to prepare, there's no doubt, after a hard-fought road win. I thought our guys had tremendous energy the entire night. I could feel it in the locker room. They were excited and played that way. They celebrated that way. Great physicality. They're flying all over the field in all three phases. And so that's definitely something we can build off of, knowing that we have to play incrementally better this week to beat Seattle.
Next up, please, Kevin, Kyle, and Darren.
Hey, Cliff, I saw, I think Lecky Fotu played like 38 snaps in the last 2 weeks. He's obviously gotten more run. What have you seen from him as far as his development and just him kind of getting used to the NFL game and his kind of position switch?
Yeah, the position switch and then the scheme is different than what he played in college, where he was more of a two-gap player. We're more of a penetrating front, and so he's learning that and has picked it up and worked hard at it. All these young guys without an offseason, we knew it would take a while, but the light has come on for him a little the last couple of weeks. He's a huge presence, for such a big guy. He's very agile and physical and has worked hard at it, studies hard, works hard, and so it's been nice to see him have an expanded role.
Cliff, I was wondering, after you guys finished last year pretty well, did you and Steve sit down and have a conversation about whether you should build this thing a little bit slowly in year 2 of Kyler, or if you should be aggressive in free agency and making trades and try to really ramp up the competitiveness pretty quickly?
Yeah, we just wanted to field the best team possible. That was it. We knew that obviously we feel like we have a special talent in Kyler, and we have a long way to go as an organization to get where we all want to get, but we wanted to field the best team possible, and that was our only real thought going into this offseason.
Hey, Cliff, was there anything in particular on those 2 deep throws to Andy of why they didn't quite match up? And I'm just curious, are you guys making more of an effort to look for Andy in certain situations more than we were before?
Andy's earned, those attempts. He's really played well and had a great training camp and improved dramatically as a player from year 1 to year 2. And so he's showing up, he's open, he's creating separation. And we'd like to hit those throws, but that happens when you're trying to push the ball down the field. And we were fortunate to end up hitting a couple late that really separated us in the game. But no, Andy's he's got next level type speed and has done a really nice job so far this season.
Next up, Josh, Bob, and Catherine.
Hey, Cliff, you mentioned earlier that the offense hasn't found its groove just yet. I guess, why hasn't it? And what do you need to see for it to know that it is? And I guess what needs to happen for it to find its groove?
I just think you bring in, an exceptional talent like Hop, and it's going to take a while to fit all the pieces together because he can warrant so much of the attention when he is in there. And I think we're still building a rapport with him at the quarterback position. Those guys haven't had a lot of time on task, and that'll get better. But it's just inconsistency, leaving things out there that I know we can hit, that we hit in practice over and over. And for whatever reason, it's not transitioning to the game. But we're finding ways to win, which is encouraging. Our guys know that we've left a lot out there and can definitely be better.
Cliff, you're only 41, and you've already coached 3 future Heisman Trophy winners, an NFL Rookie of the Year, a league MVP, Super Bowl MVP. Can you talk about how fortunate and fun it's been for you, how it changed you, and maybe give me a comment on each of those guys I mentioned, Menzel, Mayfield, Murray, Mahomes?
Yeah, just been very fortunate, like you said. I've always been a big believer it's about players, not plays. And, those guys that I've been fortunate enough to coach have made me look really good. A lot of those guys you can call anything and they're going to make it work. Johnny, one of the most popular, best college football players in the history of the sport. One of the most competitive people I've ever seen. Didn't always love to grind it out during the week, but on Saturday he gave you everything he had, and his teammates loved him for it, and you could see how they played around him. Baker, what an incredible story. I mean, when he got to Texas Tech, he got there that summer and earned the starting job, and just a phenomenal competitor, always has a chip on his shoulder, and has had, a great career so far. And Mahomes, I mean, there's not much to say that everybody hasn't said already. You watch him week in, week out, and he's like a Madden cheat code. He makes everything look easy, and then with Kyler, same type deal. The playbook is really limitless because you can call your QB run stuff, you can call your drop pass back stuff, you can call your deep throws, and he has the mental capacity and the ability physically to do it all. That was a really good answer, by the way. Did you think? It's like extensive.
Yeah, maybe the longest one yet.
I know. It's not really my deal.
Cliff, I know that the big plays were something y'all were building towards for the last few weeks and are so important to this offense. So what could that mean to keep those going into the Seattle game?
We feel like we have the dynamic playmakers to hit more of those, and particularly when we get the run game going like we did last night, those things start to show up more as safeties start to get involved and cheat the box. And so we would love to keep that as a part of our game with those guys that have that down the field speed and have that go up and get it mentality. It'll definitely make us more explosive moving forward.
Okay, we'll wrap it up with Kyle, Nick, and Josh.
Cliff, you've been in your fair share of shootouts in your career. What's it like having the balance that this team does, where it seems like the offense played well, but also the defense all season long has been really good?
I couldn't be more impressed with VJ and that group of coaches and that group of players, and the changes Steve made personnel-wise, bringing in some really talented pieces. They've really come together quickly in a strange season, and we know we have some great offenses ahead of us, but when you watch the way they're playing, the physicality, they took the ball away 4 times last night, the way they're flying around with the football and having fun doing so. It's a fun culture to be around.
Cliff, I know you guys have only seen the Niners in person, but how would you describe your division that seems to be the best in football?
It's tough. I mean, week in, week out, you see those scores, and you watch the tape, and just tremendous players, tremendous coaching. Very, very physical division. I mean, guys are flying all around and making plays week in, week out. And so it definitely motivates you to work harder and be better knowing what's out in front of you.
Hey, Cliff, what kind of influence has Kyler's father, Kevin, had on him, and where have you seen it the most?
I mean, the kid wouldn't be here without that type of upbringing and competitive nature. I mean, Kevin Murray is one of the most competitive, if not the most competitive humans I've ever met, and you feel that in Kyler as well. And the skills that he taught him as a baseball player, basketball player, football player. I mean, it was elite training, and you see that with the way he plays games, his knowledge of the games, you know, his thought process during games when I'm talking about information. I mean, Kevin had obviously a huge impact, and they're kind of living the dream that they always saw for him.